All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for our Creo Illustrate webcast. Sorry for the delay. We were having a little bit of some technical issues there for a few minutes, but we're ready to go, and we'll kick this off and get through our stuff here as quickly as possible. I'm Matt Tognerelli. I am the moderator for today's webcast, and Nitin Sharma, one of our senior application engineers, will be the presenter for today's webcast. We'll begin with a brief intro of BWI, who we are, how we help manufacturers with solutions across the product life cycle. Then we'll go right into the presentation around PTC Creo Illustrate, along with a live demo, and then at the end we will wrap up with Q&A. You're all currently in listen-only mode, but you can write in your questions throughout the webinar. We'll make sure to answer them at the end of the webcast. Barry-Wehmiller International is a division of Barry-Wehmiller, a $2.4 billion global organization that provides capital equipment, engineering, and IT consulting for a diverse array of industries. With more than 130 years of manufacturing experience, Barry-Wehmiller has a rich blend of capabilities and legacies of more than 80-plus businesses, united by the company's strong values, innovation, service, and fierce commitment to people whose lives we touch through the course of our business. Barry-Wehmiller continues to grow rapidly with more than 11,000 team members and 100-plus locations worldwide, servicing customers in all corners of the world. Barry-Wehmiller International is the global provider of business and technology solutions to the mid-market manufacturing domain. Our unique business model enables us to offer global expertise and consultative services while having strong local presence in the markets we serve. With operations strategically located to meet clients' needs throughout the U.S., Europe, the Middle East, Asia Pacific, BWI offers world-class engineering, enterprise, IT application managed services solutions that enable those clients to achieve a competitive edge in their marketplace. Our global headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia, with additional offices throughout North America, Europe, and India. Barry-Wehmiller has a rich manufacturing legacy back to 1885, serving all sizes of businesses, ranging from small and mid-sized to Fortune 1000 manufacturers. We provide solutions for a diverse group of customers, spanning the globe in Europe, Asia, U.S., from small companies to large and household names and everything in between. We got a quick couple of poll questions, and then I'll turn things over to Nitin, and we'll get to what you're all here for. So, first question is, what are you currently using for your technical documentation? Alrighty, thank you. Next question. Where do you see the biggest need for electronic technical documentation? Alrighty, thank you. And the last question here. Does your company have an initiative to deliver electronic technical documentation? All right, thanks everybody. I'm going to make Nitin the presenter here, and we will get into what everyone is here for. Nitin, you should have it.
Joe, can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen, Nitin. Thank you.
All right. So, hello and good afternoon once again, everyone. My name is Nitin Sharma, and I work as a Senior Applications Engineer with Barry-Wehmiller International. In today's webcast, we will be talking about some of the capabilities of Creo Illustrate that allows us to rapidly and accurately communicate complex product details and procedures. Not only that, we can use the Creo Illustrate for the creation of 3D illustrations that can be either published as a HTML or a PDF. Now, finally, also along with Illustrate, what we can do is we can go and use the Illustrate tool to create quality animations that meets today's expectations of 3D information to improve overall product usability and performance as well. Now, first of all, over here, let us go and talk a little bit about the workflow that we use over here for Creo Illustrate. Now, first of all, we do go over here and identify the CAD data and import it inside Creo Illustrate for the creation of an illustration file. Now, once we are inside Creo Illustrate, we can go and create the service bill of materials from the imported CAD data, and we have two different options to do that. Either we can go and create a link between the CAD data and the Illustrate file, so we can go and have it updated at a later stage of time. Now, not only that, once we have those files created, we can go and create these multiple images that allow us to go and create these technical instructions for either servicing, assembling, or disassembling of our models. In order to do so, we can go and create different orientations, different cross-sections, and different exploded views as well. Now, finally, the next thing...
Yes. Sorry. Hey, they're asking, could you put yourself in presentation mode on your screen? Is that possible?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. So, the next step that we have over here in our Creo Illustrate workflow is using our animation tool to create figures or other interactive animations that will demonstrate the process of either assembling or disassembling the components from an assembly, or either use it for servicing those components as well. Now, another thing that we also need to go and look at over here is what are the drawbacks with the traditional methods that we currently use. Now, first of all the technical information that is presented are page-based documents and are actually pretty heavy. Now, all of that also at the same point of time, whenever we do go and create these illustrations, they have to be managed manually. We have to go back and do all those updates manually. Now, over here in Creo Illustrate, as I said, we can go and always create a link between the CAD files we are using and the Illustrate file, so we can go and do those updates automatically as well. Now, before we go and look into the key benefits of Creo Illustrate, first of all, I would like to go and open the software over here at my end and look at some of the capabilities of Illustrate. All right. So now, for those of us over here today who are attending this webcast and are Creo Parametric or Creo View users, first of all, what you can see over here is the setup that we have over here for Creo Illustrate is very similar to Creo Parametric and Creo View. Also, along with that, as I said, very similar to Creo View, we have over here is the ribbon that have different commands and different groups underneath them that we can use. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do over here is I will simply go and open or import a file in here. All right, so now here we have is the important step. So as I said, if we do go and create the link between our CAD and the Illustrate files, we can always tell the system if we do want the confirmation of the updates or if we want to go and do the update without any confirmation. So that is something that we can always go and set up at the very beginning when we are creating these Illustrate files. Now, it's going to take a few seconds because I'm trying to open a large model over here. All right. So first of all, you will see over here is that the current model that I have open in the window, it has more than 3,000 parts in it. Now, talking about the setup of our models over here, first of all, we can go and look at all the different view options that are available to us. That is the orthographic or the perspective modes that can be used in Creo Illustrate. Now, another thing that is a little different about Creo Illustrate are the mouse operations that are used for changing the orientation of our models. Now, for those users who are used to using Creo Parametric, they can always go and use the spin center for that again. So whenever you do go and use your mouse for changing the orientation of your model, it will treat it like we are working in Creo Parametric. Now, another thing that we have over here in Creo Illustrate that can be accessed by using our Figures tab are all these different rendering modes. So let us give it a couple of seconds to update. And also one of the most popular options that we have available from our rendering mode is this HLR. Now, another edit capability that we have to Creo Illustrate is thick and thin option over here. If we do not want to go and see the minor details on our models, we can always go and enable or disable this option for that with all of these rendering modes except the shaded. Now, once we have defined our shading style over here, what Creo Illustrate also captures for your models are the different orientation styles. Now, usually what most of the people they do is they will capture all this different information with the help of these figures over here. What I usually like to do is I usually like to go and create a standard setup for the very first figure that we have, and I would like all the components from my model to be included inside it. Now, if I do want to go and add to the list of figures over here, I can very well go and create a new figure, or also I can go and create duplicates. Now, in this specific case over here, once we have the image created, we can go and give it a more meaningful name. So for the specific case over here, I will call it cross-section. Now, once I have my image created, I can simply go and specify which of the different components from this model that I want to include this in figure or not, simply by using the left-hand portion of the interface. Now, once that is specified, another thing that we can go and do over here is we can go and create these cross sections for our models as well. Now, for the creation of the cross sections, I will simply go to the sectioning tab and click on the view section option over here. And as soon as the view option is selected, you can notice that we have a cross section created on the model that uses the datum plane. Now, if we do want to go and further manipulate this cross section, we can go and use any of these axes from here. Now, another thing that also can be controlled over here for our cross sections is if we do want the system to go and cap the sections for the different models or not. Now, not only can we go and create planar cross sections over here, we can also go and create quarter cuts. Now, by default over here in Creo Illustrate, whenever we try to go and create a cross section, the system automatically creates a cut through all the different components that are selected in the list on the left-hand side. Just in case if I do want to go and create a cross section on certain different components or certain selected parts, we can always go and use our Creo Illustrate for that, select all those components that we want to be included in the cross-section, and say Add Selected. And once we have selected those components that we want to create a cross-section for, we can again go and manipulate it. Right, and just to show you that right over here. So one thing that you can notice right over here is when I'm creating this cross section, instead of the system creating a cut with all the components, it only creates a cut with these three components that are selected on our list over here. Now, once we have done this, the next thing that also can be done is if we want, we can always go and create multiple different cross sections. And all those cross sections can be defined using our section properties tab as well. Now, just in case if I do want to go and change the rotation or the translation along or about any of the axes, we can simply come over here and manipulate that as well. Now, once we are done with our cross-sectioning tool over here, the next that we are going to do is we will go back to our figures tool, to the figures tab, and we will create a new figure that will be, again, a copy of the first image that we have over here. So I'll duplicate this one. And here we have the copy of figure 1 created. And once we have that, I will simply go and give it a meaningful name. And I'll call it, say, animation. Now, one of the most important aspects of Creo Illustrate that we have over here is all of these images that we are creating can record the service information. And not only can these figures be used as images, we can also go and use these figures to capture our animation effects inside them. Now, for this new figure that I have created over here, I will like to go and show how to go and disassemble some of the components from this particular assembly for servicing purposes. And in order for me to go and do that, I will simply go to the animation tab and use the advanced controls from there. Now, whenever we are creating these animations, the system automatically adds this portion at the bottom of our screen that will show us the timeline of the animation running across the screen over here from left towards the right of it. Now, first thing that we can notice right over here in this animation tab is we can always go and record the content of these animations that we are creating. Once we have clicked on that, the next thing that you would notice is this red dot. Now, not only can we go and capture this content, also what we can do is we can go and tell the system to capture the changes in angle of the camera as well. And that will become a part of your animation too. Now, once we have done that, I will simply go and make those changes, whether those changes be in position of any of the components, whether those changes be the orientation of the whole model itself. Now, just to verify over here that all these changes that I have made to the orientations have been captured, I can simply go and play that animation right over here. Now, irrespective of what these changes might be, as I said, these changes can be made to the orientation. They can be changes made to the position of components, assembling or disassembling different parts from this assembly. Now, once we have this animation created, another thing that we can do is we can go and control the speed at which this animation is going to run. So if we want to slow the animation down or run it at a faster rate, we can always go over here and do that. Now, usually what we try to do over here is I would like to go ahead and show a certain service procedure that can be used by either service technicians. Now, in order for us to go and look at that capability, I would like to go and open a different model over here. All right, so again, starting with the first step, I would like to go ahead and create a duplicate of this image. Once I have the duplicate created, I'm going to go and give it a name. And that's going to be our animation again. Now, once we have created our figure, I will activate that figure over here and go back to our animation tabs and also specify which one of these different components will be included. So for this specific case over here, I will be using our motor subassembly. And just to have it included, I will go and check this box right over here. Now, once we are in here, I will again go over here and activate the advanced controls. And once the advanced controls are activated, we will start recording the changes and create an animation from those changes. Now, first of all, we can go and edit the position of any of these components. And I will also go and move these blades over here as well in the direction of the green axis. And finally, I would like to move these bolts along with the fan motor to this region. Now, Creo Illustrate right over here is a very powerful tool. Not only can we go and use this transform tool over here to change the position of our components, but also we can go and add these effects. So just for sake, if I do want to go and show that the next step in this specific procedure will be unscrewing these bolts from the motor part, I will simply go and select these bolts right from here and use the unscrew effect. Now, one good thing about this is in the newer versions of Creo Illustrate, we have all these advanced options. That is, we can go and specify the direction for unscrewing these components right over here. And now, once we have made all these changes, we can always go and replay our animation from here. Now, another thing you all would notice right over here is if I would like, I can always go back in the playing process, either using this tab over here, or also I can go and use this arrow to rewind, forward, or play this animation. Now, one thing that we also need to understand or notice in this specific case over here is that whenever we do go and create these animations, we have another column created over here that will show us all the objects that are added to your current animation and their location on the timeline. Now, just for sake, at this specific step over here where I am trying to unscrew these screws. So I'll just simply go back to that step. And I'll pause my animation right there. Now, another thing that I can always go and do over here is if we do want to go and add multiple effects to different components, we can go and edit this timeline using these columns and the bars over here. So again, if I do want to go and add any more effects to these components, I can simply go and edit the timeline for that. And just to verify those changes have been applied to our animation, we can go and replay it. Now, one last thing that I also want to talk about over here in case of our animations is any of these effects that are added to the animation, we can always go and control their display type. Not only that, once we have these animations created, we can always go and insert any of this construction geometry or any of the model nodes along with any 2D symbols or the 3D symbols as well. Now, in this specific case, whenever we are going to disassemble this motor part along with these bolts over here, what I would like to do is I would like to go and add a note that the technician will look at, and he will be able to specify what is the next step or the next operation that needs to be performed. So just in that case, if I do want to go and add a note at this location, I will simply go to my annotations and create that note. Now, Once we have defined this note annotation over here, the next thing that we can also go and control are the properties, that is how it will be displayed along with the background color. And just to verify these changes have been captured in our animation, we can always go back over here and replay our animations. So everyone, one thing that we can notice very clearly from here is that not only can we manually go and edit the location of these components for showing the disassembling or the assembling procedures, we can also go and use any of these effects that are available to us. Now, also, when we are creating these procedures over here, one important aspect that we have is the creation of these notes and the symbols that we talked about. And let us go back over here and wait for that. And if you all would notice right over here that once our animation has completed running, we are also able to see the note that we created over here. Now, just to say, if I do further want to continue creating this animation, I can simply go and make more changes to the timeline using these bars right here. And in this specific case, let us go ahead to the very end of our animation when we have created the node. And I would like to go and scroll to that location. And right over here we have is the node. And what I would like to do is that the very last step of the animation that I want to create is the fading away of this node or the removal of this node. So I will simply come in here, I will select the node and fade it out as well. And just to verify our changes have been added to the animation, I will simply go and replay the last 10 seconds of the animation. Now, a very simple example for an animation that I created over here is available on my desktop, and I'm gonna play it right here. Now, in this particular case or this particular video file, we are again demonstrating the assembling and the service procedures for some of these components. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about over here is whenever we do go and talk about the key benefits of using Creo Illustrate, it does clearly convey any complex information inside our 3D animations. Not only that, it replaces all that heavy text information with nice and clear 3D animations that are more useful and easy to use. Now, also another thing that Creo Illustrate allows us to do is it allows us to publish any of these images and the content to interactive 3D or 2D format. So just to go and take a look at it, as I said, once we have any of these animations created, for exporting any of those animations, we can always come in here. We can go and specify the location where those files will be saved. Once we have specified that, we can also go and specify the codec type. And just to let you know that we are not limited to Windows codec, but we can also go and add more codecs over here. And once we have defined all of these settings, we can simply go and save any of these animations as well. Now, talking about the publication process over here, if we do want to go and publish any of these figures that we create in here using Creo Illustrate, we can go to our File tab and use the Publication step as well. Now, another thing that we can do with any of these images that are created using Creo Illustrate is that we can always go and save them either as our Creo Illustrate files or 3D and image files as well. So if I do want to go and save this particular image from my Creo Illustrate as an image file, I will simply go and do a save as, specify a meaningful name for it, and also the format. So gentlemen, coming back over here to this animation that we have. So just to give you a quick overview that once we have done the export for our animations from here, that particular file is going to look something like this. Right, so let's move to our next slide over here. Now, another important aspect of using Creo Illustrate that we have over here is that we can go and create any of these illustrations by importing the design data from most of these major 3D systems that are our JT, CATIA V4, Ideas, SolidWorks, and Unigraphics, etc. Now, not only that, as I said, and we looked previously, if we want, we can go and create an associative link with original CAD files that can be used for update purposes. Now, finally, last but not the least, as I said, Creo Illustrate is a tool that can be also used for 2D and 3D publication services as well, and it also supports ArborText ISO Draw as well. Now, finally, talking about the capabilities of Creo Illustrate, as I said, if we want to go and reuse any of the 3D CAD data, Creo Illustrate allows us to do that by creation of these 3D technical illustrations, and it also allows us to go and save these files in different 3D CAD formats as well. So everyone, that is all that I had for our today's webcast, and if you do have any questions for now, we can go and take those questions.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Nitin. We will do a couple things, folks. If you want, kind of go ahead and write in any questions that you may have here. We'll do a little business here. If you are looking to take your Creo or Windchill skills to the next level, we do provide certified PTC training in 6 training facilities throughout the U.S. We also do on-site training or virtual training as well. Feel free to browse our training schedule visiting our website at b-wi.com/training. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to our National Training Manager, Joe Ferret, and he'll help you select any classes that you need or answer any questions that you may have about any of classes. Also, PTC has their new Rev Up campaign. You can take advantage of the special for the Creo parametric and get your 3D CAD capabilities, simulation through your system, product data, and management. So if you purchase Creo Parametric Plus, and you'll receive a free upgrade for Essentials Premium. But let's see here. We got a question for you. One of the questions was, then can the notes be exported to a file for translation?
So, Matt, if I understand this question clearly, are they trying to export the notes that are manually created inside Creo?
Scott, if you can kind of clarify on that, we'll
or Matt, another thing that you can do is if you can take their information, I can always answer that question offline as well.
Yeah, we can do that as well. Another question is, what if your 3D CAD model is incomplete or, for instance, hardware is missing? Can you add individual hardware pieces after the 3D info is loaded?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay. All right. Are you going to have another one of these for Creo View to TD, two-dimensional exploded parts installation instructions, instruction sheet? Right now, we don't have one of those scheduled, but we can add that to our list of webcasts, and we can definitely work on having one of those for you as well. So, next question. My application, Creo Illustrate, would be to produce basically an illustrated parts list along with certification, compliance, annotations. Then parts lists would be driven by a BOM with Creo part parameters displayed in the BOM table. Can Creo Illustrate graphics be saved as 3D PDF? If you can you answer that portion of the question? Then there's multiple portions on that question.
So yes.
Okay.
We can go and save it as a 3D PDF.
Okay. And the next portion of the question is, can annotations be incorporated into animations?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
And I think the animation that I created, I did one of the notes at the very end of it.
Alrighty. Next portion of it is, how is Creo Illustrate integrated with Windchill?
What PTC says is that Creo Illustrate is fully integrated with Windchill and Servigistics, our Vertex products as well.
Alrighty.
But I think that is a broad question, and I think there should be like a basic common answer to that. But I think we can always go and talk about it more in depth.
Okay. All right. Are figures used to save cross sections, exploded views, etc.? How are figures managed in Windchill?
Sorry, Matt, can you repeat that last question again?
Yeah, hold on. It said, are figures used to save cross sections, exploded views, etc.? How are the figures managed in Windchill?
Okay, so all these figures that we have over here are saved with a C3DI format in Windchill. So all that content from these figures will be available inside that one file to the best of my knowledge so far, but I will confirm that once again.
Okay. Let's see. How are updates to Creo parametric CAD model communicated, displayed, updated in Creo Illustrate?
Okay, so Joe, that is I'm sorry, Matt, that is something that can be done. And also for this question over here, if you can have the information, I will be able to send them some kind of file that shows that particular feature.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here. Can new cross sections be created and saved? I think you already answered that one.
New cross section? Yes.
Yeah. So with that first question, Nitin, I kind of get a little clarification on it. Let me repeat that question for you, and then I'll give you the explanation on it. The question was, can the notes be exported to a file for translation? And he says, we typically leave the text out of the images for publications to be translated, but with animation, we may need to leave text in the animation, which would require us to translate.
Yes, so what we can do for that is these notes that we create in there, we can always go and hide and unhide them.
Okay. All right. And then let's see. Can you add your own custom tool images or 2D notes that can be accessed through the Insert Tools library?
So what I remember is that if you want, you can add your 2D and 3D symbols to the palette of library that we have in Illustrate.
Alrighty. How do you export to 3D PDF? Is that in the future build? I haven't been able to do that in 3.1.
So Joe, whoever is the user, if they are looking at the screen still, if they want, they can always go and do a save figure as, and in there they can always go and change the format to U3D.
Okay. Hey, do you have yours up? I'll make you the presenter and you can show it. Is that
Oh, okay.
you all right with that?
Yes, I thought I was already presenting, so.
Yeah. Sorry, I took over. I'll put you back as the presenter. All right, you should have it.
All right, so if we do want to go and save these images as 3D images, we can always go and do a save figure as. And once we are in here, we will just give it a name and select the U3D format.
All righty. And that looks like that's all the questions that we have for now, Nitin. So we'll wrap this up. So everyone, all of our webcasts are archived on our website. You can reach them at b-wi.com/webcast. I'll have this webcast up on later this afternoon. Then you will also be receiving a copy of this webcast in an email. It'll have a recording below my name and signature. That'll go out probably tomorrow or Monday. Since it is Friday, so don't want you to get spammed over the weekend. But so you'll get a recording of this, and then if you do have any other questions that you'd like to ask, or you can reach out to me. My email is matt.tognerelli@b-wi.com. My information is listed there. We thank you all for joining us. Our next webcast will be around Creo, sheet metal, and then we also have a couple PLM webcasts coming up in December as well. One on MBOM and EBOM and manufacturing integration with ERP, and the other one will be PLM options and variances. So hope you all will join us for those in December. But thank you all for attending today. Like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And we look forward to seeing you next month. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.